those. So let's dive right into it. The first one, it comes from Harry in Tuscaloosa. Which major college football coordinator will take over a Power 4 or Power 5 program in 2025? This is really interesting to me because I got 4 for you. Let's start off with the first one. Will Stein in Oregon, he's got to be on the short list. When you saw a change of personnel when Kenny Dillingham went to Arizona State, many people thought, well, maybe we'll get back to the original Bo Nix, the one that struggled out in Auburn. Nope, he only got better, and that's because of the intricate offense and the direct style of play that Stein produces on the regular. You had 1,000-yard receiver from Tez Johnson, 1,000-yard receiver from Troy Franklin, and the expectations are basically going to duplicate themselves in Eugene despite going to a new conference, bringing in a new quarterback, and bringing in a new number 1 wide receiver with Texas A&M's Evan Stewart. So if he ends up posting similar numbers that he did in the Pac-12 with this Frankenstein monster offense that he's created over the last year and a half, and he's able to go ahead and duplicate that same success in the Big Ten where 11-1, 10-2, college football playoff number 5 seed, you're hosting a game out in the zoo, Eugene, early mid-December, cold, windy night. He's going to be on a short list of candidates. Absolutely, he should. He's one of those rising names that we continue to hear about. He's somebody that I would keep definitely on your radar this year. Another name, easily, Glenn Schumann. Death, taxes, somehow Kirby Smart's assistants get recognized for jobs. And it's usually the defensive guys because if they come in and they take over the guy that just left and got a job elsewhere, and they continue to keep the pace moving. Dan Lanning was not the play caller, but he did have a major influence on that defensive front. And he turned out future first-round pick after first-round pick after first-round pick. But the main reason why you like a guy like Glenn Schumann is the same way you like Dan Lanning. They learned underneath 2 different masterminds at their craft defensively. One at Nick Saban, because Glenn Schumann was an assistant on staff in Tuscaloosa. Didn't play football, but did walk on over there. And then underneath Kirby Smart, who's done exactly everything that he's needed to revamp his defense, where they're top 5 in almost every conversation each offseason. So you look at Glenn Schumann, he was well respected last year in several head coaching searches. His name was brought up consistently. It's going to be hard pressed to say that he won't once again be on that candidate pool of teams in the Big 12, maybe the ACC. But he's got a good job down in Athens. So he doesn't have to take it if he doesn't want to. It's got to be a top 5 defense. They're going to recruit a top 5 level class next year. And in large part, he's still going to be able to learn as a young 30-year-old what it means to be a great coach, to be able to take that whenever the right opportunity arises. An opportunity that should arise next year, and it may even come in the SEC, depending on another question that we ask, Kirby Moore at Missouri. I really loved the addition of Kirby Moore. And the reason why was because of, number one, it showed humility with the guy in Eli Drinkwitz. Realized that his offensive identity wasn't working in Columbia. So what's he do? He goes out and he makes a smart move with a guy that has some bit of NFL experience because of his brother Kellen, and also has a great identity of understanding quarterbacks. Numbers prove it. Go 11-2 last year. You have a great year from Brady Cook. Their offense is humming beyond belief. And it's the same offense coming back this year, very quarterback friendly. And the expectations are through the roof at Faurot Field because of what is returning, including your offensive coordinator. And he could have probably gotten a job elsewhere. He probably could have been on a short list of candidates for any major location in college football because of what he did. And he stuck around. He's bought into what Missouri is preaching. And if they go on a playoff run, everyone's going to be looking at him and saying, well, you know what? This is somebody that was able to take a quarterback that struggled in an offense that was supposed to be really, really good when it was at Appalachian State. And he got him to a college football playoff and a couple of wins away from a national championship. Maybe he can do that with better resources, better allocation, and maybe lesser expectations. There's a team that we're going to mention a little bit down the line that might be in the works for a head coach next offseason. Don't be shocked if Kirby Moore's on the short list. And here's a surprise one that I know nobody else is going to say. But if you don't know the name Elijah Robinson, you better learn it. He just got hired as the new defensive coordinator at Syracuse. And Syracuse has been the talk of the town among college football sickos for like the last 3 or 4 weeks for some reason. Fran Brown, everyone's talking about him as a recruiter. Everyone's talking about him as an innovator, leader of men. Well, the same thing could be said down at College Station about Elijah Robinson. He was able to continue to keep pace down the stretch and kept things interesting in that first half against LSU when Jimbo Fisher was fired. He then makes things interesting against the Doak Walker Award winner and Ollie Gordon in the Texas Bowl. And the reason why a lot of people were buying hype into Texas A&M when Mike Elko was hired was they all thought Elijah Robinson was staying on staff, not just as a recruiter, but also as a potential coordinator. Ultimately, he got a job to be able to be paired up with a friend back in a location he knows extremely well. And it wouldn't shock me if all these new defensive additions added into Syracuse, this is an Orange team that actually overexceeds expectations. Now, what are expectations? Like 8-4, 9-3? Probably not. I'm thinking more so 6-6 and 7-5. And then they get to 8-4 and they have a top 30 defense and a top 30 scoring unit. And they do a good job in the secondary or a great job in the pass rush with veteran talent. That's going to be a reason to believe, well, he's recruited elitely down in the South. He knows how to develop defensive linemen. He knows trench play. Why are we not having Elijah Robinson on a short list? That's just my name that I would absolutely be keeping a short eye on, along with the other three. Next, hey, you made it to the end of the video. That's awesome. Thank you so much. But before you leave, make sure that you hit subscribe. And if you want to check out any of our other great work, make sure you click on one of the videos here. Am I pointing at the right spot? I'm not entirely sure. I'm really not.